Lab safety. We'll start with some general principles to keep you safe in the lab, and then how to deal with the various chemicals in the lab. Lab safety. Chemistry is a laboratory science. You will handle chemical substances and use special lab equipment. Many of these substances pose a health risk if handled improperly. Everyone who works in a chemistry lab must follow safety precautions. And here's for a great little course on lab safety. All schools have promulgated safety policies and procedures for chemistry lab work to meet their specific needs. Those policies and procedures supersede anything that is written in this presentation. However, this presentation discusses general procedures that could be used by schools. The first rule of lab safety is to follow your specific school's policies, including evacuations, calling 911, or the use of safety equipment. Here are some basic rules. Goggles must be worn at all times. Closed-toed shoes must be worn. Long hair must be tied back. No loose clothing or jewelry. No food, drink, or gum. And aprons and gloves may be necessary. Read all lab procedures and follow all instructions given by the teacher before beginning a lab. If spills occur, notify the teacher immediately. If glassware or other equipment breaks, notify the teacher immediately. Never use chipped or cracked glassware. Follow chemical disposal instructions and do not mix chemicals unless instructed to do so by the teacher. Then, wash hands thoroughly with soap and warm water after each lab. Read and understand directions and procedures before beginning the lab. Review the chemical safety guidelines before handling chemicals. You can find chemical information on the SDS sheets, the chemical bottles, and in the lab procedure. Keep your lab area neat and organized. Clean up and wash all materials at the end of each lab. Avoid the contamination of chemicals. Unused chemicals should not be returned to a reagent bottle. Never put a pipette, spatula, dropper, etc. directly into a reagent bottle. When heating a liquid, turn the container away from yourself and others. Use tongs to handle hot glassware. When heating a flammable liquid, use a hot plate instead of an open flame. When diluting acids, always pour acid slowly into the water and stir to get rid of any generated heat. And here's a big caution. Water should never be poured into concentrated acid. Under the direction of the teacher, to properly smell an odor from a chemical, waft it. Use your hand to wave vapors towards your nose. Do not inhale deeply. Do not put your nose near the chemicals. Here is a selection of some common safety equipment found in a lab, along with a high-level description of their function and use. So we're talking about eyewash stations, first aid kits, fire blankets, fire extinguishers, safety shower, and fume hoods. The eyewash station is used if chemicals contaminate the eye. Procedure: turn on the water, hold the eyelid open, flush for at least 15 minutes, rotate your eyeball around while flushing. The safety shower is used if skin is exposed to hazardous chemicals. Procedure: stand under the shower and pull the water activator. Flush for at least 15 minutes. Remove contaminated clothing as required. And right down here, that's the water activator. You pull down on that, and that will have the water come out. The fire extinguisher is used to put out fires in the classroom, small fires. Notify the teacher immediately if a fire breaks out. Most school policies require 911 to be dialed and the fire alarm to be pulled. Now be careful, fire extinguishers will not put out all types of chemical fires, so they should only be used by trained personnel. And here's the procedure over here. You pull the pin out, aim at the base of the fire. And fire blankets are used if a person's clothing catches fire or to smother a fire. People who are authorized to use the fire extinguisher will use this process. Hold the extinguisher upright and pull out the safety pin. They will stand back from the fire and aim at the base of the fire nearest them. And then they will squeeze the handles together and sweep the extinguisher stream side to side. Again, this is for professionals. The fire blanket is used to smother fires, depriving the fire of oxygen that it needs to burn. If you catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll. Someone else should grab the fire blanket to put out the flames. Procedure: remove the blanket from the holder, then wrap it around the victim or place over the fire. The chemical fume hood is a closed and ventilated area in which students can handle chemicals that release toxic vapors. In order for it to be effective, the exhaust fan should be turned on. Chemicals should not be left in the hood unsupervised and should be put away once the work is done. At the direction of the teacher, this first aid kit over here can be used to treat minor injuries that occur in the laboratory.